They have to excuse me if I'm a little slow. Not a lot of sleep lately, but Dylan and I went turkey hunting this morning, and this is our 10th video since yesterday afternoon, and somewhere on there.
Yeah.
I think you.
10th? Yeah.
Yeah, 10th video.
Dang, all right.
Yeah, 6 today and 4 yesterday before dark.
Yeah.
We had some people over last night, had a really
counting?
campfire.
So
Yeah, yes, who's counting? And we've been dragging today. We saw Big Tom, Big Strutter. He came in kind of close. First saw him at about 230 yards, and that was pretty cool. Terrible food plot fails. We're going to finish with this one, and then we won't be filming for another 5 days or so, something like that. But terrible food plot fails. There's so many fails, so little time. There's a lot we talk about on a regular basis, and I want to hit some of our non-traditional a little bit. And really, you know, again, I want you guys to succeed. Food plot failures are often the number one reason the deer habitat parcel is doing poorly and is failing, and it drastically can prohibit your ability to create a great deer herd this fall. And if you don't have a great deer herd, you're not going to have a great deer hunt. So the two go hand in hand. Which is worse when it comes to food plot failures, your time or your money? A lot of people don't have both. Either way, it's a terrible expense. And so to keep you from wasting time or money, that's why there's a lot of people that hire us to just say, I think I have the plan down, I purchased web classes, whatever. I know Kevin Smith out in Pennsylvania, Ohio. He travels around, flies to clients too. He had a glowing review from someone, and the guy said, you know, I purchased all the web classes. I really thought that he thought he knew the WHS concepts, but Kevin really hammered that home for him. And, you know, you can figure out some of this stuff on your own, but really there's a lot of concepts that revolve around food plots that if you do it wrong, you destroy your land and you destroy your hunt. It's really, really easy to do so. So I hope all of this hits home to you. But when it comes to wasting something, it doesn't matter if it's time or money. It can be very, very costly depending on what you have more of at the time and less of. Number two, this is a really big one, throw and grow. I hit this often, but if you haven't worked the plot, taken care of weeds, taken care of lime, fertilization efforts, if you have shade on the plot, you haven't taken off debris so you can get good seed to soil contact, if you're planting seed at the wrong time, the wrong way, the wrong seed, it doesn't matter how big the buck is on a bag and who's endorsing it, the throw and grow product is not going to work. By its name, it implies that if we throw this out, it's going to grow. And that is not always the case. Sometimes they even put things in there like rye grass that'll grow just about anywhere. So you get some green coming up and you have that satisfactory green haze and green green glow of some type of growth, even though it doesn't do anything for you. So a lot of people fail every year on these throw and grow products when they really don't hit home to adding any volume or attraction where you plant them. And you haven't prepared anything. So you're just getting a lot of those throw and grows just by the name imply that this is going to be a failure this year when you go out and plant it. Number three, weedlogent. That's a word, weedlogent. We even I put a TM there, so that I think that means
that's official.
Yeah, it's official. Yeah. It's got to be official. It's a word. It really is. Dylan even thought it was a word too, or just said it was after we put the TM there. But anyways, weedlogent. Boy, if you don't control your weeds, you're gonna have very poor food plots. And it's not just poor food plots. It's not just saying, oh, we have a few weeds. And boy, there's some terrible information out there just saying that weeds are better on your food plots. And I'll agree, weedy food plots in the summer, which you shouldn't be planting food plots in the summer anyways, there's more variety. Deer eat lots of weeds. So if they're green in the summer or growing, you might have great attraction on that versus just a clover field, just an alfalfa field, because there's diversity and variety in that food plot space. But all those weeds die in the fall. So what was a great attraction in June, July, August, which doesn't really matter, it can actually hurt you, is a terrible attraction in October, November, and December. And never forget, 10-acre food plot, you have 50% weed growth. We think, well, still have 5 acres. Well, you just wasted 5 acres of time and money planting that 5 acres. But you get 10% the volume, 20% the volume, because those 50% in weeds take nutrients from everything else around it. You know, weeds aren't just on one half or the other half, and the other half's beautiful. They take from volume, attraction, and really waste your time and money. And a lot of this wasted, time and money, it's all the same as far as each one of these can really waste either. The priority of lime. it was stressed to me so much in 98, 99 when I bought and purchased my land up in the UP of Michigan. And even in 95, 96, someone said, you have to lime your plots. I didn't even know what that meant. Fortunately, Jim Islip with the County Extension Office through the Michigan State University up in the UP of Michigan. Jim might even be retired by now. But he stressed so much. You have to have lime on the soil to correct the pH. Once the soil is corrected for pH, then the plants can take up the nutrients and actually grow. Far, far too many people spend all their money on fertilizer and don't address pH problems. And when they do that, the fertilizer is 100% a complete waste when you don't address the pH. We get around that pH sometimes because we use plot start. Plot start changes the soil so that it can uptake the nutrients differently than lime. It doesn't change the pH, but what it does do is allows the plant to take up the nutrients so it can actually grow. We use that religiously out here. There's a lot of areas I haven't addressed lime concerns, but I have pH concerns with lime, but I have with our plot start, and that's another way to do so. But bottom line, you have to take care of it. You have to address it first before you add any fertilizer. Number 5, brand creation. So what I mean by that is XYZ seed companies, big buck shooter mix, whatever it's called. And so you're going to put this mix out and it sounds fancy, it's something. You know what they've designed that creation to do? Simply to suck your money. That's it. Make a sale. That's what most seed companies and unfortunately most deer hunting products are. They're salesmanship like that. They're just designed to take your hard-earned money and really not offering any value in return. And it's a kitchen sink blend usually. It's a quote proprietary blend, meaning they can name it what they want. And they have this perfect concoction on there of seeds that are the magical formula they just came up with this year. They've been practicing it for 5 years, 10 years, and it's outlasted and beat everything out there in volume and attraction and hogwash. It's just another brand creation. That's why we like working with Northwoods Whitetails, with John Comp, because he puts seed blends that are just solid workhorse blends that we can actually recommend to our clients. Meaning, buy this brassica blend. It's not the big buck shooter mix or whatever kind of mix it's called. It's an actual brassica blend that works with no frills in it, and that's why we partner with John, because we want just workhorse seed blends that aren't wasting your money. Well, again, a lot of these creations, every single year, you see these companies come out with new and exciting things that are just designed to take your money instead of actually producing any kind of positive results in your food plot program. Number 6, wrong seed, wrong time. So many people plant brassica in June, for example. Brassica meaning rape, turnips, tilled radish, kale, canola, whatever it might be. That's a brassica family. That's not planted in June. It's planted in mid-July, early July at the absolute earliest up in the northern areas, and typically in August sometime in most locations in the Midwest, all the way down to Oklahoma, West Virginia, Kentucky, in that line. In Louisiana, you could probably plant that more towards Labor Day into early September, and you get down to the southern areas where appropriate, then you can do so. But you're planting rye, for example. Rye is a great seed to plant. I've been talking about and teaching how to plant rye. If you look up layered rye for whitetails, talked about that years ago as a way to increase volume in northern high density or high browse plot areas where you can't keep an actual food plot growing very long. But you can layer rye, put more volume, put a lot of seed in one spot because you're staggering growth patterns. And it's a great way to do so. But if you're planting rye in early August in Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, New York, let alone in anywhere south of there, then you're planting it way too early. If you're planting rye in middle of October, unless you're in Kentucky and south and over to Oklahoma, you're probably planting it way, way too late because you're not going to get any appreciable growth. Same with brassica planted in Labor Day in northern Michigan, northern Wisconsin, northern Minnesota, upstate New York. It's a month too late. So in something like brassica, if you plant a month late, you're not losing that 2 to 4 to 6 inches of growth in the first 4 weeks. You're losing the 12 to 15 inches of growth that took place in the last 4 weeks that it doesn't actually get in that growth cycle. If you're planting beans or corn, wrong seed, wrong time. You can waste thousands of dollars because it's very expensive to do so, depending on how you plant it. So a lot of seed failures just aren't following the recommendations. I've even seen cold hardy oats with a certain company recommend planting oats in October when it's already past the first frost for the year. Those oats die as soon as the frost hits, but they'll happily sell them to you. They'll happily sell them to you. Number 7, seed coatings. Always look on the bag if you have more than 10-15% in seed coatings. Doesn't matter if it's clover or not. You need to pay attention because even clover blends where they have to be inoculated so they have a coating on that seed. If you have 50% seed coating or 40% seed coating, you buy a 10-pound bag of seed, you can do the math. 40% coating means you actually only have 6 pounds of seed. If you need 10 pounds per acre, you're 4 pounds short. If you need 8 pounds per acre, you're 2 pounds short. Just because it says 10 pounds on the bag doesn't mean there's actually 10 pounds of seed. Watch for weed matter in those seed labels. Read your seed labels. But when it comes to coatings, if you have more than 10-15%, you have too much. It's taking up a lot of space. And that's a way a seed company can spend less money for coating than they do seed and make you buy a 10-pound bag of seed that you look at and say, wow, this is a pretty good cost per pound of seed, when really you don't realize that they've stuck coatings in there as a filler. They put it on the label, they tell you what it is. It's actually accurate maybe for that seed even to get it to grow better. But you have to pay attention to those pounds per acre, especially as it relates to too much coating in a bag. And number 8, nocturnal nightmares. What do we mean by that? This is what we see as Kevin, Joe, and Dylan when we go to clients around the country. We see food plots, by and large, that are used only after dark during the better half, the better portions of the entire hunting season. Hunters overhunt their food plots. They spook deer off them. They quickly turn their land nocturnal with just in one weekend of sitting. The deer that you saw in September, early October, you never see reappear during the daylight the rest of the season. You continually pressure those areas. You think they've got to come back. Well, they don't. They're somewhere else. They're somewhere safer. They're somewhere where they can actually feed on a food source. And especially mature bucks, they'll go to the highest quality, most secure food plot in the neighborhood. Let me repeat that, the highest quality, most secure food plot. So if you have a lower quality food plot, but it's the only secure food plot in the area, meaning secure bedding, secure travel on the way to that, with the appearance and the illusion of not being hunter pressured, that's where those mature bucks go and they're willing to travel for it. It doesn't even have to be the best food. It just has to be the most secure. And certainly if you have a neighbor that we try to work with or teach you on the channel to practice where you're actually producing a high quality daylight food plot, then that is the herd influencer, that actual 3% parcel where 97% of landowners never achieve. That's what we want you to be. And if you try to ignore these terrible food plot fails and try to save your time and money going into this season, even if you just look at it as time and money equation, when I do this, is this a smart investment of my time and money? If you just make decisions based on that, you'll be on track for great food plots this fall. And what do great food plots mean? That means deer are hitting them during the daylight. They give you the ability to attract a herd, a daylight herd, all season long, and they give you the ability to build a herd, and not only a great herd, but ultimately a great hunt. Now I'm excited again this year to host our Camp Kicking Bear charity event. Last year we did it in June, and it was a big success. We were able to raise over $21,000 for Camp Kicking Bear. There's some people that actually made comments that they get sick of hearing about this kind of stuff and whatever else. I think they didn't understand that we're actually raising money. This Camp Kicking Bear is, to me, the #1 children's organization that gets kids in the outdoors, their families, especially a lot of kids that don't have the opportunity to do so otherwise. June 11th, I'll have more details coming out about this, but you can email us for early registration. June 11th, it'd be midday, like 11 to 4 type thing, 10 to 5, 10 to 4. What I do is there's 50 people that register for this. We give that all to Camp Kicking Bear. Well, it's a habitat day. We go out for a couple hours on the property and I show you some strategies that you can take home to your own land. Number 3, we have a hunt raffle for 100 people. The registration for 50 people is $300. That gets you in the door to actually see the property and the land. $100 gets you in a hunt raffle times 100 people. We had Leo from Lower Michigan had a hunt last year, many memories, end of September for a couple days. Number 4, Lots of door prizes, Matthews bows, blinds. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that we give away, really good stuff for you too. Kids are free. I think we had about 25, 30 kids last year. All proceeds, again, go to Kicking Bear. Every dollar, every dime we raise goes to Kicking Bear. We'll have some other auction. Last year, Chris B came. We might have Kevin Smith, retired Major League Baseball player. I hear that Gary Suter, he's a NHL Hall of Famer, he might show up too. So there's some chance to meet there. And then, of course, Ray Howell. He was here last year. He delivered his testimony. It was an awesome, inspirational talk that he gave to everyone. Hope to see you there. Look for further details on the site and then the description for the video.